Okay, let's just dive right into this explainer. Today, we're tackling a thoroughly modern, highly digital anxiety that, let's face it, pretty much all of us share, but very few of us actually understand the science behind. I mean, we live in a world where we're constantly connected, surrounded by people all day, yet, ironically, we are constantly worried about where we stand with everyone else. We all get that weird, low-grade anxiety in our gut, but why?
Come on, I want you to be completely honest with yourself for a second here. Have you ever picked up your phone, unlocked the screen, and opened an app specifically just to see if someone, literally anyone, liked your recent post? Yeah, we all do it. You are definitely not alone. It's just a completely universal modern habit at this point.
Or maybe you've sat there just staring at the screen, refreshing your notifications over and over, desperately hoping someone finally replied to your message. Or maybe, and this is a classic, you've spent your entire evening replaying a conversation in your head, agonizing over questions like, oh man, did I sound stupid? Or what are they thinking about me right now? We put ourselves through this immense, exhausting stress over these tiny little digital interactions.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is that while society is super quick to label this behavior as, a personal weakness or fragility or just deep-seated insecurity, neuroscience actually tells a completely different story. Your brain isn't obsessed with validation because you're weak. Not at all. It's obsessed because, for hundreds of thousands of years, approval quite literally meant survival.
Which brings us to part one, your ancient tribal brain.
Okay, so I want you to imagine you're living 50,000 years ago. Obviously, there are no cities, no internet, definitely no supermarkets to go grab your groceries. You live in this small, tightly knit tribe of maybe around 100 people. Our brains evolved over tens of thousands of years in the darkness and danger of those tiny tribes. They've had, a microscopic fraction of time to adapt to the sudden, overwhelming explosion of modern digital life that really just kicked off in the 1990s. Back in that ancient world, the stakes were incredibly high, like literally life or death. If your tribe accepted you, it meant you survived. You got access to shared food, you had shelter, and you had protection. But if your tribe rejected you, yeah, that didn't just mean a lonely Saturday night. It almost certainly meant you were going to be eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. You'd have zero protection from predators, no help finding food, and no shelter from the elements. So your brain learned one unforgettable lesson. Being accepted equals staying alive. Modern life has totally changed, sure, but your brain's hardware? It really hasn't. It still reacts to a lack of approval as if your physical survival is literally on the line.
Moving right along to part two, chasing the dopamine reward. Now, we hear a ton about dopamine these days, but there's a huge misconception we really need to clear up right away. Dopamine isn't simply happiness. It's not just a joy chemical. Dopamine is actually all about motivation. It acts as a chemical teacher. When it gets released, it basically tells your brain, hey, that was really good for our survival, do that again. Think of it kind of like pulling the lever on a slot machine. The thrill isn't just the payout, it's the anticipation. And that is exactly why one single compliment is never, ever enough. You get a compliment, you get a hit of dopamine, and boom, your brain is immediately motivated to seek out another one.
And let me tell you, social media companies understand this biological mechanism perfectly. Every compliment, every single like, every little pinging notification, they perfectly trigger your brain's reward system. Tech developers have essentially turned every interaction into a tiny digital reward, creating this continuous, unbreakable loop. Without even realizing it, we are actively training ourselves to endlessly seek approval. Our ancient survival instinct is literally being hijacked by a modern feedback loop. So let's look at part three, why rejection literally hurts. Okay, this is wild, but research actually shows that social rejection activates many of the exact same brain regions as real physical pain. You know that horrible pit you feel in your stomach when you're left on red? Well, that's why rejection literally hurts. An ignored message, getting 0 likes on a post, a snarky negative comment, or even just being left out of a group chat, your brain interprets all of these digital slights as immediate physical danger, even though rationally you know you are perfectly safe sitting on your couch. It all comes down to our brain's intense negativity bias. It's exactly why you can get, say, 50 glowing performance reviews at work, but I guarantee you'll spend 3 weeks agonizing over the one person who said you were just okay, right? Your brain specifically evolved to notice threats way more than praise. A compliment is nice, sure, but a criticism from a stranger, that signals a potential threat to your standing in the tribe. Your prehistoric brain is just constantly scanning for danger to keep you alive.
Which leads us into part four, the validation trap. We really need to look at what happens when validation becomes your primary driver in life, because you stop asking yourself, what do I actually want? And instead, you're constantly asking, what will other people approve of? And this leads to some deeply self-destructive behaviors. You might find yourself choosing a career path just to impress your parents or peers, or maybe buying really expensive things you don't even need just to project a certain image. You start hiding your true personality. You stay silent when you know you should speak up, and you avoid taking risks. We do all of this, essentially, just to avoid the perceived pain of rejection. And here is the great, somewhat tragic irony of this entire trap. The harder you work to secure your place in the modern digital tribe, the more you actually erase your true self. The more validation you blindly chase, the less authentic you become. You kind of stop being a person, and you just become a reflection of what you think everyone else wants to see. Finally, part 5, escaping the validation trap. Let's talk about regaining control.
Look, you can't completely eliminate a human instinct that took thousands of years to build, but you absolutely can short-circuit that dopamine loop. Step 1, just simply start noticing when you're seeking approval. Awareness really is your first line of defense. Step 2, pause and ask yourself, would I still do this if nobody saw it? If the answer is no, well, you're doing it for the tribe, not for you. Step 3, celebrate private wins. Do things that make you genuinely proud without posting them online for everyone to validate. And step 4, regularly disconnect from social media. You have to give your reward system a fighting chance to just reset itself. This brings us to a really crucial realization about what true confidence actually is. To quote the source material here, the people who change history aren't loved by everyone. They're simply willing to disappoint some people. We so often think of confidence as being loved and agreed with by the masses. But real confidence, it isn't needing everyone to agree with you. It's knowing deep down that you will be completely okay if they don't. You just have to accept that not everyone is going to like you, and frankly, that is a perfectly safe reality to live in. To wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a bit of a challenge. Yes, your brain craves validation because for thousands of years, approval meant survival. But remember this. You are no longer living in a prehistoric tribe. You do not need everyone's approval to stay alive. So, the next time you find yourself desperately refreshing those notifications, remind yourself that your brain is just following some really outdated, ancient programming. You don't have to follow it. The exact moment you stop living for other people's approval is the moment you start living for yourself. If you found this explainer helpful, keep seeking out the science of how your mind works. Until next time, stay curious.